Okay, this is going to be the next graph or next video on trig graphs. This is going to be tangent and cotangent, okay? Couple things I want to distinguish. Tan, all right, the values, okay? These are the values, a little bit different. Undefined, -1, 0, 1, undefined. Okay, -1, 0, 1, undefined. You actually are moving in increments of 45 or pi over 4, which we'll talk about later. Okay, cotangent, slightly different. Okay, cotangent values are undefined, 1, 0, -1, undefined. 1, 0, -1, undefined. Okay. Tangent is very much like secant as far as the starting angle. Okay. So what we learned about with secant, okay, all right, and how we had to set that equal to -pi/2 and do something different with the phase shift, that's going to be in play. Okay. The other thing about tan and cotan is the period is pi divided by the number in front of x. Different than all the other ones, which was 2 pi. Okay? All right? So let's do an example here of a problem. Let's say I got y equals 3 tan, all right, of 2x minus pi. Okay? All right? So I want to start with my values. So that's going to be undefined, -1, 0, 1, undefined. -1, 0, 1, undefined. Okay? All right, to find my starting angle, I'm going to take 2x minus pi equaling to -pi/2. All right, to find the phase shift, I would just do 2x minus pi equaling 0. Okay, so what I would do is add pi. Okay, so it's going to be 2x -pi/2 plus 1 pi over 2. I'm sorry, 1 pi. Okay? All right, so what I need to do is get a common denominator, so I'm going to have to multiply by 2 and 2. So that's -1 pi/2 plus 2 pi/2. That's going to be 1 pi/2. And then I would divide by 2, which would give me pi/4. Okay, that would be my starting amount. Okay? All right? Now, all right, what I want to do, okay, all right, what I want to do to find the phase shift is I would just add pi, that's 2x equals pi, divide by 2. The phase shift is pi/2, okay, which we'll get into that stuff more next class, all right. Now, I want to find the period. Okay, the period is going to be pi divided by the number in front of x, which in this case would be 2. So my period is pi/2, okay. My interval is the period, it's still the same thing, the period divided by 4, it doesn't change. Okay, so pi/2 divided by 4 would be pi/8. Okay, that's going to be my interval. Okay, so I can start 1/4 pi plus, basically 1/8 pi. Okay, let's get a common denominator. That's going to be 2 pi/8 plus 1 pi/8 would give me 3 pi/8. Okay, so now I'm off and running. All right, 3 pi/8. Okay, now 3/8 plus an eighth, 4/8, which is a half. Let's do 4/8 plus an eighth is 5. 5/8 plus an eighth is 6/8. Okay, so that's the next two. So 5/8 pi and 3/4 pi. Okay, and I got 6/8 plus an eighth is 7/8. 7/8 plus an eighth is 8/8. Let's be the next two. So 7 pi/8. 8/8 would be 1 pi. Okay, an 8 plus 1/8 would be 9/8. 9/8 plus an eighth would be 10/8. Okay, so that's all your fraction stuff. So 9/8 pi, 5/4 pi. Okay. All right. So that's all your fractions. So your period was pi/2, interval was that, phase shift was that. Okay. Now, what else is I'm gonna erase all this stuff so I can make my graph. I will write what my phase shift and all that stuff was. Okay, so I had a starting angle of pi over 4. I had a phase shift, pi over 2, and I had a period of also pi over 2. So just for your notes, okay, which I'll post. All right, now, as I go to make a graph, I can see I'm going from about 1/4 to 5/4. So I'm going to go from 0 to about 2, okay? All right, 0 to 2, all right? Make this real big, 2 pi. Half of that will be about 1 here, 1 pi. Let's cut that in half. That's going to be pi over 2. Or 1 pi over 2, cut that in half. 3 pi over 2, okay? I've got fourths, so I'm going to have to cut that again. So 1/4 pi, 3/4 pi, 5/4 pi, 7/4 pi. Okay. Now I'm gonna go. I have eighths, so I got to cut the eighth. Okay. So I'm just gonna put 1/8, 3/8, 5, 7, 9, 11, 13, and 15. Obviously, I don't use all those. Okay. So at pi over 4, we're going to be undefined. At 3 pi over 8, actually I have this 3 in here, so I got to multiply all these values by 3. So that's -3, 3, -3, and 3. Okay, the zeros are going to stay the same. Undefineds are going to stay the same. Okay, so I'm at 3/8, I'm at -3, so 1, 2, and 3. Okay, at pi over 2, I'm at 0. At 5/8, I'm back up at 3, 1, 2, and 3. Okay, 3/4, I'm at undefined. Okay, 7/8, I'm at -3. At 1 pi, I'm at 0. 9/8, I'm there. 5/4, I'm here. Okay, now, here's what's important to understand about tangent and cotangent. This has a curve like that. Please don't draw it as a straight line. This has a curve. It looks like the cube function. Okay? And that is your tangent. Okay? Similar to secant and cosecant in that it's confined by undefined asymptotes. Okay? Different in shape than the other ones. Okay? All right, let's do another one. Let's do a cotangent example. Let's say cotangent of x over 2 minus pi over 2. I'm sorry, plus pi over 2, plus 2 on the outside, okay? Y equals. All right, so let's start angles and values, okay? My values here are going to be undefined, 1, 0, -1, undefined. That's the first period, 1, 0, -1, undefined. Okay? All right, now, I'm going to start cotangent. The phase shift and both the phase shift, the phase, and the starting angle are the same. X over 2 plus pi over 2 equals 0. Okay? All right, don't have to worry about the whole negative pi over 2. Okay, so subtract. Okay, so that's going to be x over 2 equals negative pi over 2. I would cross multiply, so x equals -2 pi over 2 or negative pi. That would be my first angle. Okay? Now I got to find the period, which is pi divided by the number that's in front of x, which would be 1/2. Remember, with fractions, that flips over. So that's going to end up being, the period's going to end up being 2 pi. My interval, okay, I take my period and divide by 4. So 2 pi divided by 4 would be pi over 2. Okay, so that's that stuff there. All right, now let's go ahead and let's get the battle of fractions going. I got negative pi plus pi over 2 being the interval. Okay, all right, so as a fraction, that'd be negative, I want to get that as -2 pi over 2 plus pi over 2 would give me negative pi over 2, would give me negative pi over 2. All right, so it's -1/2. Okay, -1/2 plus 1/2 would give me 0. 1/2, I'm sorry, 0 plus a half would give me a half. So here's what I got. I got negative pi over 2. I've got 0. I've got pi over 2. All right, 1/2 plus a half would be 1. So that's back to 1 pi. Okay, then I got 1. I'm sorry, it's 2 over 2. Sorry. And then 2 over 2 plus 1 over 2 is 3 over 2. 3 over 2 plus 1 over 2 is 4 over 2. Okay, so I got 3/2 pi. I've got 2 pi. All right, then I got 4/2 plus a half is 5/2, and 5/2 plus a half is 6/2. Okay, so I got 5/2 pi and 3 pi. Okay, so pretty clear. I go from negative pi all the way to 3 pi. All right, so I'm going to erase the battle of fractions. All right, so, okay, oops, I should draw it like that because I got negatives in there. Let's go like this. Okay, so I got 1, 2, 3, so 3 pi, 2 pi, 1 pi, negative 1 pi. Okay, now this is pretty easy since it's just going to be halves. Okay, so 1/2 pi, 3/2 pi, 5/2 pi. Over here, I'd go the other way, it'd be negative 1/2 pi. Okay, all right. Now, let's talk about this 2 over here. That is going to be added to my values. So now this will be 3, this would be 2, this would be 1, that's still undefined, 3, 2, and 1. So I add 2 to all those values. Okay, pretty simple stuff. Okay, at negative pi, I'm undefined. At negative pi over 2, I'm up at 3. At 0, I'm at 2. At pi over 2, I'm at 1. At 1 pi, I'm back to undefined. At 3 pi over 2, I'm at 3. At 2 pi, I'm at 2. At 5 pi over 2, I'm at 1. And 3 pi, I'm undefined. Okay, so what I want to do here, okay, what I want to do here is draw it so that, that's terrible, okay? So as you can see, the points are slightly different, okay? Let me draw it this way. Go here, connect, connect, curve, boom. So it's almost like the flip version of tangent, okay? All right, so I'm gonna do 2 more, then I'm gonna give you guys 2 to do, okay? All right, let's do another one. All right, let's do a tangent one now. Tangent x plus 3 pi plus 4, okay? So let's start with our angles and values. Okay, let's start with the values. So that's going to be undefined. Negative 1, 0, 1, undefined. Negative 1, 0, 1, undefined. Okay? All right, so I'm going to have to set this equal to negative pi over 2. Okay? Set this equal to 0. So I've got to do it twice. Okay, this is for the phase. This is for my starting angle. Okay, so I would subtract 3 pi. Okay, so it'd be x equals negative pi over 2 minus 3 pi. I would need a common denominator. So x equals negative pi over 2 minus 6 pi over 2. So x equals negative 7 pi over 2. Okay, so that would be my starting angle, negative 7 pi over 2. Okay, for the phase shift, I just simply subtract 3 pi. So x equals negative 3 pi. Okay, so this is my starting angle. I'm just going to write the phase shift over here would be negative 3 pi. Okay, let's find our period. That would be pi divided by the number that's in front of x, which in this case is a 1. So my period is pi. my interval, okay, is pi, in this case, divided by 4, which is just pi over 4, okay? So that's my stuff there, all right? Let's get into the battle of fractions now. I got -7/2 plus 1/4, okay? So need a common denominator, so that'd be -14 over 4 plus 1 over 4 is -13 over 4, okay? -13 over 4 plus 1 over 4 is -12 over 4. Okay, so I got -13 pi over 4. I've got -3 pi. Okay, and I got -12/4 plus 1/4 is -11/4. And -11/4 plus 1/4 is -10/4. So I got -11 pi over 4, and I've got -5/2 pi. Okay, keep it going. -10/4 plus 1/4 is -9/4. -9/4 plus 1/4 is -8/4. So it's -9 pi over 4, -2 pi. Okay, -8 pi, -8/4 plus 1/4 is -7/4. -7/4 plus 1/4 is -6/4. Okay, so I got -7/4 pi, and I got -3/2 pi. Okay, so as you can see, based off of the fraction stuff, I'm really going to have to work in the negative realm here on that side. Okay, so let's draw out what my okay, all right, let's draw out what that's going to look like, okay? All right, so what I'm going to do is going to be a little bit different. I'm going to work this way, okay? All right, so as you can see, this is like -3.5. So I got to go all the way to -4. So I'm going to go -1 pi, -2, -3, -4. All right, let me move this period thing back underneath here. Divided by 1 plus pi. Okay, all right. So I got halves and quarters. Let's cut this in half. -pi over 2, that's not a very good half there. -3/2, -5, -7. Okay, now I'm going to cut quarters. Okay, I'm going to cut quarters. All right, so this would be -1/4. Okay, -3/4, -5, -7, -9, -11, -13, -15. Okay, now what's going to happen with the values? I'm going +4 on the values. Okay, so this would be 3, 0. Okay, this would be 5. I'm sorry, 3, 4, 5. Okay, all right, making that 3, 4, and 5. Okay, all right. So now, at -7 over 2, I'm at undefined. So I'm going to put that vertical asymptote there. At -3/4, I'm at 3. Okay, so 3. At -3 pi, I'm at 4. At -11/4, I'm at -5. At -5/2, I'm undefined. At -9/4, I'm at 3. At -2 pi, I'm at 4. At -7 pi, I'm at 5. And then -3/2, I'm undefined. So make sure you got a little bit of curve into that. That would be your tangent graph. Okay? All right. All right, let's do one more together. Okay? All right. Let's do another cotangent one. All right, so we'll do y equals 4 cotangent of 2x minus 3 pi over 4 minus 2. Okay, all right, let's go ahead and do this one. All right, a little simpler in the fact that I don't have to do the double phase shift, okay? Values are undefined, 1, 0, -1, undefined, 1, 0, -1, undefined, okay? All right, I can do my phase shift, and my starting angle is just going to be 2x minus 3 pi over 4 equaling 0. I would add this over to the side. So I got 2x equals 3/4 pi. Okay, divide by 2. So my starting angle is 3 pi over 8. Okay? All right, to get the period, I take pi divided by the number that's in front of x, which is 2, which would be pi over 2. Okay, my interval is going to take that period of pi over 2 and divide by 4. That would be pi over 8. Okay, for that part. Okay, now we're getting into the battle of fractions. All right, I got 3/8 plus 1/8. That's easy. I don't even have to get a common denominator. It's 4/8. 4/8 plus an 1/8 is 5/8. 5/8 plus an 1/8 is 6/8. Okay, so let's put all those in there. That's going to be pi over 2 for this one. All right, that's going to be 5 pi over 8 for this one. It's going to be 3 pi over 4 for this one. 6/8 plus an 1/8 is 7/8. 7/8 plus an 1/8 is 8/8, which is 1 pi. 8/8 plus an 1/8 is 9/8. 9/8 plus an 1/8 is 10/8. Or, sorry, that would be 5 over 4. Okay, all right, and then 10/8 plus 1/8 is 11/8. Okay, so that's 5/4 there. Okay, now, that's the battle of fractions. All right, as you can see, I go from about 0, 11/8 is about 2. Okay. All right, it's like 1 point something. So I got to go all the way 0 to 2. So, because I got these 8s, I'm going to make sure my graph is really spread out. All right, so I'm going to go all the way to 2 pi. I'm going to cut that at 1 pi. I'm going to cut that at 0. Okay, let's get the halves. Halfway between pi over 2, 3 pi over 2. Okay, let's go quarters. All right, that's 1/4, 3, 5, 7. Okay, got 8s. Okay, so it'd be 1/8, 3, 5, 7, 9, 11, 13, 15. Okay, all right. So what I'm going to do here, okay, I got to get the values right. So I'm going to times 4 and minus 2. So times 4 would be 4, minus 2 would be 2. Times 4 would be 0, minus 2 would be -2. Times 4 would be -4, minus 2 would be -6. Okay? And then the same values. 2, -2, -6. Okay? All right? So 3/8, I'm undefined. At 1/2, I'm at pi over 2, I'm at 2. Should be right here. At 5/8, I'm at -2, which should be right here. At 3/4, all right, I'm at -6. 4, 3, 4, 5, and 6 should be here. 7/8, I'm back to undefined. Okay, at 1 pi, I'm back up at 2. At 9/4 pi, I'm at -2, which is here. 5/4, I'm down at -6. And 11/8, I'm undefined. Okay, if you can cut the graph, it's actually pretty easy. Hold on, let me go the other way. For some reason, it's easier for me to draw this way than back down. I don't know why. All right, well, oops. So here goes, and does that. Here, it curves at that point and does that. Okay, so here's the ones I would like you guys to practice on your own. I would like you guys to do this one. Oh, oops, hold on. 2 tan x over 2 minus 3 pi over 2 plus 3. And then I would like you guys to do y equals cotangent 2x plus pi. Minus 1. Okay? All right, so go ahead and work on that, and we will go over those in class.